Well, good morning. We are doing our devotional this morning from 1 John chapter 3 verse 2, and he introduces a very interesting phrase in today's devotional. From Oswald Chambers uses the term graciousness with uncertainty. Now, gracious uncertainty is the mark of a spiritual life is the quote that kind of jumped out at me, especially in these times of confusion with this whole virus thing and the just the feeling of anxiety that many people have right now. And he goes on to talk about the idea that in a spiritual walk, we are always going to be in a state of uncertainty because we don't know what God's going to do. God doesn't give us a plan. I don't know about you, but I've had people who say that I would love to know for certainty what's going to happen. And my wife used to be one of those until she had to deal with the fact that I had cancer. Then she said, no, I'm willing to just deal with today and only today. And there are really a lot of people. Now, there's a Hebrew word that many of us are familiar with, and that's called shalom. And it's the word of peace. And the idea of peace in the Hebrew word, is more of unity with what God's will is. And there was a painting that was done. There was commissioned somebody, a king, somebody, I forget the exact person, but he commissioned it. He wanted a picture of peace. And people painted all these tranquil fields and things like that. But the one that won the contest, that got the commission, was a painting of a waterfall. And next to this roaring waterfall, there was this bird nest. And on the nest was a mother bird, sitting on these eggs in perfect peace. In the midst of the storm and the noise of that waterfall, she was safe and guarding her chicks on her nest. And I think for an awful lot of us, we forget that if we are in God, that God has not forgotten us. Now, today's Bible study is on prayer. And one of the things that prayer is going to do for us is, if we are like Psalm 145, is that we will see the character of God. And I hope that you'll join us for the Bible study at 11. It'll be on Zoom and on Facebook Live. But I really ask you to think about the fact that if you are in Christ, you are a new creation, and that He cares for us. Why don't we just stop and say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know who's in charge. It's very hard to do that. But when we do that, we are able to have shalom, peace, because we've aligned our heart with God's heart. Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, and yet the answer that he got was no. If there's any way other than this, I want to do it that way. But not my will, but your will be done. If we're walking in God's will, we are walking in a place that we can have shalom, a peace, even in the midst of all of this economic and all the other distress. So I hope that you'll join us for Bible study as we explore more about this whole idea. And thank you for listening.